Kendrick Lamar's critically acclaimed GNX is still buzzing the charts post-Super Bowl. However, one of the most notable parts of the album was the album's number of features. Kendrick had 7 of LA's underground MCs on the project to provide opportunities for up-and-coming artists. And this is where we potentially get a little controversial, but the intent here is not to criticize, but to talk about a deeper issue within the independent artist realm. Okay, so the question today is posed is, are the features the weakest part of GNX? 1. And further, did this approach of getting super underground LA artists on GNX jump them past artists that were a little bit more worthy of getting such a look? And was he pandering with a younger crowd with this move? And do we see this in other cities with other artists as well, depending on the different who's moving around and who's doing stuff like this? So that's the general statement, right?
Well, that's a lot.
Let's just start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Are the features the worst part of GNX to you guys?
Yes, I'll just say it. The parts that I enjoy on GNX are Kendrick. I can't say that about the young lady, like the Spanish intro.
That's fire. Yeah, that's dope.
That's different.
What's the guy's name? Lefty Gunplay?
Yeah, he's one of them.
I've heard a couple things from him that I don't think are too bad. But it was like the other stuff on there. I'm like, okay, I mean, shout out to Kendrick for looking out for the city, if you will. But, when you have access to basically any and everybody, then, bring a couple of these people on. But to have an entire album that is basically features from unknown. Well, I don't want to say an entire album because, of course.
Outside of SZA.
SZA, yeah, of course. She's definitely not unknown. But, some of these features were really head scratching to the point where, like, was J-Rock doing something this day? Where's Schoolboy Q?
Yeah.
I mean, and I understand there might be, some things there. I mean, but it seems like there's still a healthy relationship with TDE or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the point where, my first few listens through, I just couldn't get into the features and I thought it distracted from the overall vibe of, that's been my criticism so far. But, like, a lot of times, I don't know if Kendrick's kind of get his own thing started because, like when I would listen to Jay-Z and the first thing I hear is Memphis Bleak, and this is no diss to Memphis Bleak because, I actually wound up liking his music a lot more than I thought I would. But
some of it.
Yeah, but you can go through, even when you listen to The Chronic, and you'd be like, well, who is RBX? You can go through almost any major.
Wu-Tang had a lot of them.
Shout out to Method Man. What was Street Life that was all over?
Was fire.
Yeah, Street Life was actually good though.
Yeah.
True. Glad y'all said that.
But like when I bought that CD back in the day and I looked at the back of it and I was like, who is Street Life and why is he on like 5 and 6 songs? So yeah, I mean, if anybody has that criticism specifically of the GNX album, I completely understand.
I would say the features were, maybe a little underwhelming just because of, and I'm not going to say because of the unknown part, but
no, I don't think that's it at all.
I don't think that's it. It's just, I'm talking about the actual quality of the features.
Yeah.
And the more I started to listen to it, the more it sounded like alive. Like we threw a lob to the homies, which I'm not mad at, but do I think it curved my opinion of the project? No. But I would call the features underwhelming for sure. Yeah.
Would you have felt different if instead of it being in your phone, you went to the store, bought this CD, and like once you felt like Kendrick was getting into his pocket, all of a sudden you're hearing from underground LA rapper number 3 that you don't know?
See, I don't think
I don't know if that. I don't know if that necessarily
because I've been over. I mean, I think what we're speaking to is the quality. Because like I've been overwhelmed and like, who is this guy on past projects?
Exactly.
I didn't say that on these features.
There was nothing like
on
that
these. It was like it became more and more like, yeah, this is more of a lob than him saying
he's putting his people, his city on.
Instead, I'm trying to make a dope record with these features because it didn't come off that way. Not to me.
I didn't mind it. Like, it didn't bother me. Because obviously the star of the show was Kendrick.
Right.
And he shined on every song. And it was more so, even if he was doing a solid by putting some lesser knowns on the album in order for them to get some shine, it also invited other people to be fans of Kendrick at the same time. I kind of feel that this is a different style of album for Kendrick overall. So I think what he was doing on this particular album is speaking to the people saying that he can't make music that isn't the black righteous spaceman activist, so to speak, like people try to say he is. So
that Harriet Tubman music that we talked about last week,
that type thing. So I think personally, especially with him being from California, these are the sounds and the influences and the type of rap that they actually get into, regardless of the rap that we hear outside of there. Because like it's like Texas and California are their own place. So there's artists that can be eating really well off of their artistry in those particular regions, and we don't know who they are, and they really love them where they're at, and that's it. That's pretty much where the buck stops. So I kind of figure it was a lob as far as that's concerned. It might be some people he actually rocks with, but I don't think personally that it tarnished GNX to me, because
I think tarnished is too strong of a phrase.
Yeah.
Or even what was the particular phrase?
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm saying what you want. What was the particular? What did we say?
It's just the weakest link.
The weakest link. I mean, I think kind of added to the vibe. Honestly, I didn't really see it as a weak link. I felt like in totality it all made sense, and Kendrick brought it home with his verses, and he gave them a little time to shine, because it's not like they were like rapping multiple verses on the song. Some of them weren't even 16 bars.
This is
just a feature. Yep. You know what I'm saying, to kind of give you a little shine and move on. So yeah, I didn't really see a problem with it.
This is definitely Jordan dropping 63 in the Garden on those old Bulls teams where it pretty much was just him. That's what this is. Like, Kendrick took care of business.
He's playing with Judd Bushler and Bill Wennington and out there.
The old school, Orlando Warriors, them old Bulls way back.
Lefty gunplay is Bill Wennington right now.
Don't do that. Don't do that alone.
Who's the Stacey King of the project?
Don't see. Now y'all going down a rabbit hole. Don't do that.
But
we're not going to do Judd Bushler like that.
But in comparison, like,
it's definitely Jordan with 63.
Does this make anybody interested in going and listening to, just for the sake of being critical, right? Mm-hmm. You know, like, sure, GNX is GNX. I think it's cool that he put his people on, from his city and all that other stuff. But there's some other conversation around this. But is anybody interested in going and checking out any of these artists that were on GNX, though?
Not personally, I'm not me. But like even when I didn't hear any other albums where people feature a bunch of different artists, I can like the album, I can like what they did for that particular project, but I'm not interested in listening to the artist. Outkast is a perfect example of a group that is my favorite group that used people on songs, and I was not interested in hearing anything else from that particular person. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So
that's actually a good point.
there are Outkast projects like Aquemini. There's that one track or song, I don't know.
Mamacita.
Yeah, it's got a whole bunch of people on it. I skip that one every single time.
I listen to it. I still like the song.
Stacks blacked
I
out
can't
on
stand the last verse. The last verse is completely trash. I know y'all didn't listen to it. I don't even think that guy even had an album.
Again, I skipped it, so I don't even know what it is. But like,
you're Dre blacked out.
We see this with like Wu-Tang affiliates. We see this with affiliates. With every single label throughout time. And where people are putting people on, and sometimes I wonder, like, it's just like the look for the homie in the sense, right?
Yeah.
And Kendrick had this interview with Apple Music, and he talked about, like, it's kind of like to what we were talking about maybe like a week ago, where we were talking about the fact that the difference between Kendrick and LaMelo Ball, and the sense of how, like, Kendrick grinded for 15 years and he put all the work in all the right ways and became the artist that he was, and LaMelo just kind of jumped ahead of a whole bunch of people. And my only comment or concern, it's not even really a concern about this, would be who jumped. Did these, and I don't know because I don't know these artists at all, but did they jump the line simply because they fit the aesthetic of what this was, and because potentially Kendrick wanted to pander to that audience?
I think with
maybe pander is a strong word there, but you know what I mean, right?
I think they definitely
to prove his point.
They jumped the line first and foremost. They definitely did, because this type of look for these artists, based off what my research in terms of just who they are. I haven't jumped into catalogs or whatever from all of them, but based off who they are and them being up and coming, they definitely jumped in line by getting a lob from him on this project during this time with everything going on. Yes, that's a huge look. That's a huge look for them. Was Kendrick kind of pandering towards their, to kind of use the fan base for them, and then also, to Terry's point, further prove that he can make a record like this?
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I think he is.
I kind of think he is too. I think that's kind of was some of the motivation behind it.
Because he proved that he can. It sounds like he really wanted to prove, yes, I can make records that y'all say I can't make without the slave talk and this free to people, all that, whatever they say he does. Conceptual. All his projects are conceptual. This is the most West Coast project I've ever heard him put out.
Yeah.
I can't say that because
true to his culture.
Good Kid, Mad City was very West Coast.
I mean, he had MC8 was on it.
From a cinematic point of view, that was Menace to Society on whack.
But the production, but I feel like Good Kid, Mad City, and all this stuff, like the sound of it could be transferred, like it can be appreciated heavily in other regions and other areas. Whereas GNX is very much it's very regional.
Like when I listen to the project outside of this is when I first listened to it, I said, okay, this is a heavily Bay influenced project. But then I said, when I heard Man in the Garden, I said, okay, there you go. Hard Part 6, okay, there he is. Or Gloria, okay, there he is. Right. But the rest, or Luther, the rest of it is Bay music. I don't know if I've heard a project like that from
the Bay though. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But Good Kid, Mad City sounds really L.A. Compton-ish. So that's why I can't say that.
Well, maybe not
GNX,
L.A. Maybe not L.A. Yeah. Maybe just like combining and like, because I feel like also with the pop out and there was the with the Drake thing and I just think y'all don't like the West Coast. You know? Like it's uniting the coast and that the Bay and LA and that sound together.
I think that kind of goes to this conversation because West Coast residents and people have a different type of ear when it comes to rappers and music that they want to listen to. Like,
100%.
Even in the Bay, a lot of people were real hip to what's his name? Nikita. I'm sound like I'm
Andre Nicotina. Of
course, the Thea's Guide. He actually
what's his name? Mac Dre.
Mac Dre.
Yeah, Mac Dre.
Yeah,
so Ronald Dragon, whoever.
Yeah. So these are they're an acquired taste.
Well,
as
E40
far as a rapper.
E40 is an acquired taste.
E40 is big in the Midwest though. He's very big.
I heard him literally playing at the gas station.
You know what I'm saying? Like
we grew up on E40.
Sebo is another one. Sebo is very big in the Midwest, but there's so many different flavors on the West Coast. Certain of them stick in other regions, other ones don't, essentially. But they pretty much invite them all.
Are there really that many flavors on the West Coast?
I think it's more. I think it's more than you
like 3 or 4.
No,
because Mac Dre is a good example because I found out about Mac Dre later. I always knew who Too Short and E40 were. Always, like when we was
ain't
kids.
Brother Lynch hung from the West Coast.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like a horrorcore rapper,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Brother Lynch, not him, but Mac Dre is a Thiz rapper.
But then we also
Keek
had
the Sneak. You know what I'm saying? They all have
hyphy.
They have various.
But then you had Souls of Mischief. You had
Souls of Mischief. Yeah,
another level. A lot of people don't remember that group. Then you had Freestyle Fellowship. Like there was but you got to remember the Alcoholics are from the West Coast.
Yeah, true.
Razzcast is from the West Coast.
You got Larry June.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That style. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they have a whole lot of styles.
Yeah.
But a lot of those styles are very similar. It's just like they seem like cousins. Like I feel like the Bay Area sounds of all the people you mentioned from the Bay, outside of maybe the Souls of Mischief, they feel like cousins musically.
Digital Underground.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but a lot of the LA artists kind of have a similar commonality. Like when you talk about Vince, you talk about even Kendrick and TDE, those guys. We talk about. Then again, there's also like the Alchemist, Madlib, Muggs.
Yeah.
Right. Soul Assassins. Tyler, but Tyler's like it's all. I don't know. It's all similar, but I can still feel the West Coast in it. I guess
the Bay to me is one of the most unique. That one is just stands out. To me, the Bay sound I knew immediately as soon as I heard it, I was like, this the Bay, 100%.
Because honestly, the Bay, I'm trying to think, did I hear Too Short before I heard NWA?
I did.
I think Too Short was out. Like I did. He was out before, wasn't he?
Well, I mean, because the thing is, Life is Too Short. That was my introduction to Too Short.
Oh, really?
Because
mine was Born to Mac.
What was
Born to Mac? Is like an all white. Album cover and I think it's a Cadillac.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. What album was Life is Too Short?
Life is Too Short was like the blue album where it's like a gravestone on it.
Yeah, that's right. And so like that, I just remember like that got played on St. Louis radio heavy. And
NWA was out before that album.